Hi, welcome to Not
Vanilla
with your host, Roxana.
and Dominique.
And today we have a special guest with us,
Nia Jones. So the great thing about Nia, she has her own business all around mental health and healing on purpose with Nia. And today she's going to be talking with us, scrolling into sanity, not insanity, sanity, because we want to make sure that our social media usage is beneficial to us, not detrimental to our mental health.
Exactly, because we know that social media is a double-edged sword. It helps us with a lot of different things, helps us stay connected to our family and friends when we were far during COVID times. It can be used as a learning tool, it could be educational tool, all types of things. But the negative effects of that we never really went into or study, or now studies are just now being discovered about it, is, things like cyberbullying. We had bullying in school, and now it's extended outward.
Even when you're
someone you don't know, or someone you've never even came across in person. So now you have all these other insecurities that you're now thinking about. Comparisons and FOMO. I think we all experience that. At least I've experienced the fear of missing out. I feel like that's gotten very much in height during this time of social media.
And everything looks great, even though it's something you would not be interested in. Oh my gosh. No, I don't. I don't. Hide. Never. It's
ever. How that links between excessive social media use and mental health issues. We all know social media can be fun, useful, but like I said, it can have a negative impact on our mental health.
I mean, not to mention, it's a time guzzler. Like sometimes I'll say I'm about to go to bed and you guys will come in an hour later and I'm still on my phone, didn't do my shutdown. So now even I might be 2 or 3 hours, 1 or 2 a.m. I'm sad to admit that out loud. 1 or 2 a.m. scrolling because, I really didn't do what I was supposed to do and shut my system down so that I'm not just on a mindless scroll.
So, Nia, what do you think some things are like for people to wind down if they're trying to address this issue head on?
I mean, it's going to take some serious boundaries in place if somebody's experiencing all the things you just mentioned around fear of missing out and the addiction to the scroll is real. It's not. It's not just like people just can't help it and can't put their phones down. It's that dopamine rush that you get from seeing the likes pop up. Very similar to how we talk about children that have ADHD enjoy games because you get instant gratification. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations, you won. And so you get that same feeling from social media. I think first discipline is going to be important for that individual to figure out the why. You're never going to be able to stop a thing if you don't know why you do it. And so
that's so good.
Understanding what you just mentioned around the reasons why, and then digging deeper into like, am I searching for validation? Is it really that I'm alone, right? And we know loneliness is deadly and detrimental. We've all experienced that throughout the pandemic. I think Do Not Disturb is one of the greatest additions to a cell phone. I don't know what Android users have. I don't know if y'all got something like that. But we have over here on Team iPhone something called Do Not Disturb. And you can tell the phone what you want to get through. And so at a certain point in every day, my phone automatically goes into D&D. And I can't get any updates from any of my apps. I can only get calls from people that need to get through my emergency contacts. And so that has been really big for me. I also just, in general, don't have many notifications on. When you download an app, you can tell the phone whether or not you want to get those notifications. And so, like, we find that everything is dinging. Like, email is going off, and
Calendars.
texts and calendars, and if you have a watch,
Get up.
it's buzzing on your wrist, and the
Pull
phone
up your ring.
right, like everything to tell you to get up, to breathe, be quiet, right? Like I'm in charge here. So lots of boundaries that we have to put in place for sure.
I think one of the things that's interesting is like having that baseline idea of what your mental health is. What is mental health? And then like that baseline for me, what is mental health? You know what I'm saying? Because like all of us have different levels. So like what's a good baseline for what mental health is?
Yeah, I oftentimes when you, as a clinician, when you're sitting with a client, when they come into the space, it's often marked by I can't do X, Y, or Z anymore. And so optimal mental health is marked by I can. Right. And so the easiest way to remember that is it's a state of well-being in which you can realize your own abilities, you can cope with the normal stresses of life, you can work productively, and you can contribute to your community. If at any point one of those four cans becomes a can't, then we're dealing with an issue in your mental health. And so you find that when people experience depression, I can't go to choir rehearsal anymore, or I can't go to work, or I can't get up and get dressed like I used to. And so that is how we define mental health. So the easiest way to remember it is like having a case of the cans, and then that can becoming a can't.
Mm. I know you wanted to say something about that too.
I actually have a lot to relate back to the social media and mental health.
Yeah.
The average college student uses the smartphone for about 9 hours a day.
Mm.
That's longer than many of those students spend sleeping. In fact, such extended cell phone use shows that technology could become an addiction. Mm. According to the new study, an addiction is a type of uncontrolled or unhealthy habit. Right? We all know that. It's well known that people can become addicted to drugs such as alcohol, narcotics, nicotine, and cigarettes. Whatsoever, we never thought about social media.
Yeah.
Some cell phone users show the same symptoms that drug addiction might have. So it was a study done in a journal of behavioral addictions. Robert explains in his journal, certain people use smartphones to lift their moods, and it may take more and more time on those phones to provide the same level of enjoyment. Yeah. Just like Nia was saying, that's the spark that sends it off of, so it's like I'm going to do this because it's making me feel good.
Yeah, but you never get that same high ever again.
So you got to do more and more.
Exactly. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
So for such people, losing a phone or having a battery die could cause anxiety or a panic. That's withdrawal, says Robert. Too much phone can interfere with your normal activities, cause conflicts with family and others, he adds. Yet despite these social costs, people may not cut back on their heavy use. So like, this is hard because it's like kids, I feel like they integrated it into school to use these certain systems. So it's like, because it's like when you complete an assignment, you got it. I don't know. I feel like it's snowballing. How do we scale it back on? I know we want to make it a connection with the kids, but how do we scale that back to teach them healthy ways to use the tools the way they're supposed to be used?
Yeah.
That's really where we're going to get down to the bottom. So sorry, back to what you're saying more. It's also a difference between the use of men and women in the phones. It says men use social media apps such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also correlated with the risk of addiction, more to, maybe get in habit or training of something, because it says that they were using the Bible apps to read the books and to correlate with positive. Women more likely use it as a sign of addiction, Pinterest, Instagram, Amazon, and iPads. So I'm just like, wow, we even use them different. That's scary.
Yeah. I mean, with anything, right? Like women build community. Yeah. And in that community, they find, they start to build their identity. And so think about sitting with women in your own community. You usually sit seated around a table. Those are women that you learned how to dress from, how to talk, how to interact with men, what career you might choose. And so then that translated right into technology, Pinterest. I want to know, I want to figure out how I want to do my hair, or I want to see how someone else is shaped. And see if I can then duplicate that. Same thing for men and boys. We find that for little girls, and that they look at certain celebrities and define their self-worth by that social community. Little boys do it very differently. They find a lot of elements of teamwork on playing video games and communication and how to work on group projects, whereas girls aren't using it the same way. And so it makes sense. It's the same way in which little boys would play at school, the same way in which men have barbershop conversations shows up on social media. So it's just essentially technology imitating reality.
Wow. I was trying to look up for us. There is a podcast that I listened to. Oh, and this is the researcher's name is Gabor Mate, and he talks about us introducing social media to kids too soon. So it's like they're supposed to be attached to us, listen to us, and we're imprinting like those values. But because we put peers and social media, like that means that what Ms. Rachel, all of these people are imprinting their values into our kids. So it's like their development is like interrupted. Like, and some of the things are good. Like Miss Rachel is good, but there's some parts of critical thinking that maybe we should take more of than what we're allowing social media to put. And I say social media because, like my nephew, he watches those things. So if we're giving them the device and they're allowed to endlessly scroll, we're teaching them like this is my friend, this is my person, even because they don't know.
When you guys brought this topic up of scrolling through social media and stuff, I immediately thought of cell phone addiction. Because if we had the control over the technology in the first place, we would have known that social media was just for a tool and that we wasn't supposed to introduce it to the children.
Right.
I mean, because it really to the children. Like you said, it was for college students to talk amongst each other. I don't know how it went to I don't think their minds are strong enough to even understand what we're scrolling through, what you're liking, what you're conceptualizing.
Right. It's funny because we were laughing at when we were prepping for the show that, when Nia went to Psych 101, they were talking about, Facebook and social media. When I was in Psych 101, there was no discussion about that. That wasn't even a thought. Like it was, you can go to the library and find whatever book. Like we're gonna be geniuses now. That's how we thought of it. And you don't have to pay for it.
You guys use it correctly as a tool.
Like it was just, that was what we didn't even think, like I can talk to someone on the other side of the world, or, and that's amazing things to it, but it's also like to our detriment. Because what if I just want to keep meeting people and I want to fake an identity or whatever, which is what people are doing, but it's just like, it's kind of went south. It's gone south from using it for homework. It might be a problem to, I don't even know, because you weren't in Psych 101 when social media has been at
it went to, they're trying to educate us, because I remember I wrote this in college, cell phone addiction, about cell phone addiction. That's what I'm reading from to you guys, because I remember it was like, we pick a topic, and this is one of the topics that we have picked to study and talk about. And I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever experienced some of the things that's here? Have you ever experienced text claw or cell phone elbow?
Yeah. Because when I had decided, I still with
not the
side. I loved it. I had one that came out. I know, but I'm not going back to T-Mobile. But I I love that daggone phone. And so one morning I woke up and I could not move my thumb. And so I immediately went to the ER. I was like, I'm having a stroke. Like, I don't know what's going on. Not to like laugh at having a stroke, but I didn't know what was happening. Like, it was the pain radiating up my arm from my thumb. And the doctor looked at me and he said, what kind of phone do you have? I said, well, a sidekick. And he was like, oh my God, that's your problem. And so they had to put me in a cast for my thumb. And I was like, okay, I have a big problem because this is I sprained my thumb. This is in the age of AOL Instant Messenger was still hot.
Right.
So now it's on my phone. I can at first you had to be at your computer and now I can talk to my people on AOL Instant Messenger I can text, I can do all this and then you were and there was a little scroll thing on the side and then you tap. Oh, it was horrible. Messed up my hand. And to this day my hand still hurts. Like if it rains too hard, not to sound like an old lady, but you got arthritis. I had arthritis in my thumb. Just this one. Really? I don't know what. I must not have been. No, this was my scrolling thumb. This was my typing.
But I would have to say I do the same thing with mine, and it happened to me recently. That my hand cramped up, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta put it down."
Yeah. Start talking to your phone.
But it's also because everything is in your phone. So even when you do, it would be great if our listeners could look into their settings, see how many hours you're spending on your phone. Yeah. Like some of it is productivity tools. Like sometimes we can edit our podcast. So some of it is not social media, but it is a lot of stuff on your phone.
Bring it up because it's some of it is more than just social media. Actually, social media is like the stub to the cell phone. You know? I wanted to read through some of the things. It says
we have had
in text neck.
Yeah.
When you're doing like this, or you're like computer vision syndrome.
Yes.
Nomophobia. That's the phobia of not having your mobile phone with you.
Used to be, not so much anymore.
And you think you lost your phone, or I know y'all see the person and be like, oh my God.
And you're like,
especially now because they cost so daggone much.
That part. Wait, so is that factoring in there that the cost is also what makes us have that? But it's not the cost.
What it says, according to a study of 1,000 people in the UK, 66% of the population fears losing or being without their phones at any given time.
Oh, wow.
No, it had nothing to do
with the amount. It was just, I cannot lose my...
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. It says phantom pocket. Now I had this, and this one I knew I had a problem. Phantom pocket or vibration syndrome.
Yeah,
where you think your phone's
yeah, and I hate that.
You waiting on the passport. That was me.
Maybe my $1 million. I don't know.
Right, like just like $1 million.
Not right. Y'all not right because you know what can happen.
But those are the 5 major ones, and it's kind of just scary how something so simple can turn into a physical.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's ever been addicted to anything, it was like, oh, let me just try this.
Right.
It was never, I have never met, and I've worked in substance abuse houses and in the community, and I've never met anyone that was actively addicted to or delivered from an addiction that said, I woke up one morning and said, crack for breakfast. Nobody ever said that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but it's true.
Every day.
I mean, the way I said it was pretty funny. But like nobody said that. Right. It was always, I was stressed out and I did this. Or it was at a party and I tried it. Right. And subsequently became addicted. And so same thing with the phone. I don't even think Steve Jobs, when he created the first iPhone, was like, he knew that it was revolutionary, but he didn't live long enough to see where else it would go.
Yeah.
I don't think that Mark Zuckerberg thought that Facebook was going to be as big as it was. It was when I was at Mount St. Mary's University, he was peddling this little thing called social media. And we had just gotten onto the platform the year before I arrived there. And he was like, hey, join my little social community. It's for college students to stay connected. It wasn't like, now it has goggles and Instagram and a marketplace and jobs and all these things. I think he knew that it was going to, like Steve Jobs, be revolutionary, but addiction, I don't think that was on the menu.
Or even wanted that. And I think Mark Zuckerberg does a good job of trying to control the storm, because he can't predict everything, but I feel like he does try to control the storm that this became.
Yeah.
I still think it's a great tool, Mark.
Yeah, I think because it is. Like, I feel like you guys are so blessed to have a phone. This is like, you could be a genius without having to be. Because what, boss? You want me to do what? Yeah, so what we could do is
point of order.
I'm looking at my phone.
An analog millennial.
Okay.
So I've seen the change of all of this. And so I feel blessed to have seen all these things happen, from having a CD player that I couldn't fit in my pocket.
And if I want, even songs you don't like, if you want to,
that U2 album is still on my phone.
You could be like, no, I got it all gone.
And I'm like,
hey Google, what's this song? And it'll tell you. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. So I'm just saying, still a great piece of technology. And I love, during the pandemic, we couldn't be together, but guess what? You could still see what people were doing. You could still connect on the app.
Yeah.
So that's the good part of it. But I guess, do y'all want to switch to the dark side?
Oh, the dark side.
Yeah, because you have to get educated about the dark side to know how not to take it, how far not to go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jen.
So one of the things with that is the highlight reel and its impact on our self-esteem. I'm going to kick this off by saying I love Meg Thee Stallion. Love her energy. I know you are mixed about it. Love her energy because she is like a young person that I think is like, I'm a woman. I like to have sex. I like to do these things. And it is what it is. Get out of my face. But the flip side of watching her reels and stuff made me like look at myself, who is not her age, and really judge myself harshly. I had to stop watching it.
Wow.
Booty cheeks were making me feel bad. How can booty cheeks make you feel like her being on the treadmill every 5 seconds on the reel was making me feel like I had to work out? And you know what? I'm just not for that lifestyle. I'm like, hey, I can't do this with you right now. So, and I told Laura that. I was like, yeah, I don't know any of her new stuff because that can't be on my feed all the time where my body is changing and I'm not I love health and fitness, but that's not my extreme anymore, where I feel like I need to be on the treadmill for hours. I need to be lifting weights. So it was just like, I can't do that anymore. So just talking about the highlight reel of what it does to our brain, what it does to our emotions, what it does to our mental health. Who wants to go next? And I was truthful, so y'all tell the truth too. Tell them to tell the truth.
I think the highlight reel has certainly caused problems for all of us. My highlight reel, my Instagram knows that I love to shop. And I get, as soon as something is coming out, it's like it just pops up immediately from my favorite designers. And credit card in hand, I go spending, right? And I had to stop.
Yeah.
I had to pull away from it because what I know for my mental health diagnosis is that shopping is something that is a coping skill that is not positive for me. I love shopping, but for me, just like you, I had to recognize, why am I doing this? Am I shopping because I'm really feeling creative and it's a thing that I maybe need or that I want, but it's not connected to how I feel about myself?
Right.
Or am I shopping because I'm sad and I'm trying to process through something, and now I done spent $1,000 and like
you have to process
this. Like,
Some of me work
whatever my APR is on that credit card, right? I think, and so the algorithm knows the thing that you want, and it will automatically feed it to you in your reel. Similarly, I think a lot of like podcasters and influencers and even like pastors are chasing the reel to be the next viral thing, and so everybody wants to say that thing that's super deep and will, get people going, and it's like just say the word,
right?
And if it lands for an audience of 2 or it lands for an audience of 2 million, was it authentic? And it takes away the authenticity of our humanity, I think, sometimes when we are chasing this polished reel. Like, nobody's cabinets are organized. Like my mother-in-law, and I talk about it all the time, she has OCD. And so most of her house is one of those Instagrammable houses. That's just how she lives. Everybody doesn't live that way. So we shouldn't have to force ourselves into this reel of the Kardashians' pantry. Yeah. They got people that work for them. Right. I don't have nobody that work for me that can organize my pantry. Right. It's not cute. I'm not going to open it up for you to see. I know where my Cheerios are. It's none of your business. Whether or not they're in a clear container or in the box. Thank you very much.
And I think it's dangerous because we as consumers are not realizing that the people that are putting this stuff out do not have good intentions for us all the time.
Not only that, that's their job.
Yeah, that's their job.
They're selling you the clear container, y'all. They're selling us whatever.
They're selling you clothes. They're selling you their job of organizing the house. Yeah, correct. But what I was gonna say is my real addiction, as y'all could probably guess, is my mother now. I like going to the travel ones. Or like the little one that's like, go here to this.
Jumping off a cliff.
Not the jumping off the cliff, but like you go to this restaurant and then you go and it's not even like
they only showed you the one corner.
Right. The one wall. Exactly. I don't know how many times I done did this at this point. Because
this cocktail was $50.
Right. So I was like,
y'all one grand wall, and I fell for it.
I fell for it too.
And I
$300 later.
I try to be better. So me and my friends send each other different stuff, but that's like the thing that we like doing. Or like say it's like somewhere in Texas, like we'll be like, okay, we're gonna go there when we get there. Mm-hmm. So we do that. Yeah. I'm the fear of missing out person. Like, oh, I gotta go there and try to and see if they really doing that because they're gonna do that for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't bad, right? Like I don't think exploring and getting inspiration for outfits, but I think it's dangerous when, Yiddy was like a big thing for me at one point. Banana Republic was because you got me into Banana Republic, but they would, it's on your feed. It's on your feed. So like, okay, I'm trying to curate a thing, but I mean, I could also use this and I could also use that. And so it's like, oh, and I feel good because I got it at the discount. Mm-hmm. But is it a discount? No. When, like you said, hundreds of dollars later, and some of the stuff I did not keep because it didn't fit right or whatever it is. Yeah. It's just like it's a lot. Mm-hmm. You're shaking your head.
Is it time for rapid fire round questions?
So we talked about cyberbullying, excessive social media use, and mental health. One of the things that I think that we, Nia kind of talked about getting hooked. The addiction part of scrolling is just getting that feedback right away. And I think the last point about that is, so we started this podcast, we launched it, and you're putting stuff up. No one's responding. And I feel like that's how we get hooked sometimes as business owners. You're like, you're waiting for that like.
She was stressed about that. And I'm like, yeah.
And then when you get one, you're like,
you can't do that. Like what I did, because it's about marketing.
Yeah.
And you have to push it a little bit. So I sent out the reminders or whatever, and then we got it in. And she's like, and that made me scared because I was like, when we do get big,
I know she told me
I don't want you to. That doesn't equate our value. Right. That doesn't equate the information. Information is still good if it's 1 like or 100 likes, and that's the truth. So you have to, know that. That's all. Because these people, they're not gonna like it. They don't understand. They didn't say it yet.
Right. So, and I think Nia said something important that people are putting out the salacious stuff, and I'm just putting out, hey, it's okay. Hey, you can do this today, or these are some mental health stuff. So it's not the sexy thing too.
Or the
So I'm
attention
like-
because like you said, they're selling something that
Right.
hey, were you sad today? Don't be sad. What is that? I am. What do I do? So it's like, more.
The toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So leading into that, Miss Nia, you had talked about this during the pandemic. What Dominique is exactly explaining, like, why are you being a loser right now when we are on?
You ain't doing nothing but
like,
sitting
yeah,
there anyway.
you're just sitting there. You need to get up. You need to do this when people are really struggling and going through these hard situations. Can you talk not a lot, but a little bit about toxic positivity?
Yeah, I mean, saying that, hey, get up and get moving because you're amazing and God loves you, right? Like, was it authentic?
Right.
And so what we saw, especially in the early days of the pandemic, which at this point is 4 years ago, is that all of us were adjusting to what became a new normal, and quite honestly has changed how we do business and life since then. In that people were posting those things trying to help, but it was actually hurting because everyone was so
In this
fog of adjustment disorder, whereas something has happened that's been traumatic that you're reeling from and trying to get into a new normal. And so what I tell people is that it's okay to be positive and uplifting and to send messages of hope into social media and on the internet, especially with all of the other yuck that people post, but make sure that it's authentic.
Yeah.
Because people will take that false sense of positivity and think that, oh, it's not okay to not be okay.
Right.
And then internalize that I must be the only person going through this. And then that can certainly lead to a dark place. It's just not fair to be toxically positive.
Yeah.
In that way.
Okay, so just saying that toxic positivity isn't necessarily that it's bad to be positive, but that the way that you say it on a common ground so that they know, you know what, you may not be there right now, but you can get there, and I hear you and I see you.
Right. Or you're not living it yourself. So like the guy, you remember that commercial where he would be like, get up off the couch. You ain't doing nothing anyway. Go back to school. I was at Everest College or one of those.
ICDC, right?
Whatever it was called. But he had never gone to college. And this man is yelling at people in the middle of the day while you just trying to watch Maury because you at home sick. Sir, that's toxic positivity. Right. You have never set foot into a college campus, classroom, dorm room. You have no idea what this is like.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
And you're just telling me to get up and do it.
And you're telling me to get up and do it. Thanks a lot. And if I do, what are the next steps? Because now I'm at the front door of the birth star and I have no idea how I'm going to pay for this, what it's going to look like. Toxic positivity.
Yeah, and I think that's so good because we were just talking about that because I think people celebrate having kids, but the kids grow up and all the stages in there are not just buying the baby clothes. Right. So we'll tell them, oh my God, you're having a baby. It's so great. But you don't tell them like you're going to have postpartum. Your vajayjay may have been ripped and now you can't do but one or two things. I'm telling them the truth. So they know like after you have a baby, you don't look perfectly skinny. Like all these changes are happening and people don't tell you. And then they're like, oh my God, I just had a baby. So great. Okay.
That time positive.
Yeah. And it's like, oh.
Meanwhile, they went to the plastic surgeon.
Right. Or like what you're saying about school, like, oh, I'm in school, it's so easy. I'm working 20 jobs. I'm struggling with homework. I'm a college student. I have kids. I have my dog. I have my husband. So it's like, yes, going back to school is important. And yes, it happened after transition. And yes, blah, blah, blah. And it's still hard. Like, yes, I know I got to finish my stuff. So it's like, we got to that's why I was saying that. You got to tell them the truth.
But I
because
think
people don't tell the truth. They'll be like, people want to see me. So great. The baby goes to sleep all night. And Dominique went to sleep all night, but it was a transition of, OMG, this human is with me and
Forever.
For
It's
them
not 18 years.
forever.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone ever grows up and they're like, I don't ever need my parents, because you will go back home. I mean, everyone's parents isn't the same, but hopefully when you're going through those hard things, you can go back home and you have a parent that's already in their mind. They love you enough that you can come back and be cared for.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot as a parent, because they be on this toxic positivity thing. But no, you got to really be a parent and love them through those hard times.
Because sometimes, like, people don't talk about another thing, when you have kids, like, you may not be able to buy all the stuff and do your nails and do all that stuff. Like, it's a sacrifice. And I've seen and heard people say, well, I'm still a person. I'm still going to do me. And it's like, I know that's what we would like to think. But I think, and I don't know, Nia, you're a therapist, but I feel that, yes, you're supposed to be yourself, but it's some inherent sacrifices that people don't talk about that I think is part of being a parent, going to school, having a job, and it's stuff that people don't talk about. Like, I want my own business, but you got to do X, Y, and Z.
I think what you just said was so profound. It's something, an inheritance of everything that you're doing, to be this positive person, to go to work every day, to want to do it for yourself, to want to wake up for your children. That is something like that's like.
And then you're a therapist, so you tell us this.
I don't think you stop living. I've seen some parents stop everything to care for their children. And if that is your choice, be okay with that choice. Don't make that child pay for the fact that I stopped everything for you. Right. I gave up my dream. Right. It's not the child's fault. It has to be here. There are some sacrifices that we make as parents, for sure, in service of our children, whether that's time, money. I've had to stop being a full-time entrepreneur to ensure that my son's tuition was paid. And his tuition is not cheap. Right. And I made that commitment. We made that commitment as his parents that he would go to a certain school. Yeah. And I don't make my son pay for that decision. Right. He's now used to that decision. And my motto is, I'm going to keep you in the lifestyle to which you become accustomed. Yeah. That's my decision.
Unless it's something that we can't do.
If I can't do it anymore, then I can't do it anymore. But I will bag groceries before I have to change something for him. Right. And that may mean, I didn't get my hair done this particular month because I couldn't. Right. But I try to keep everybody to the lifestyle to which they become accustomed.
That's how you stay happy.
Yeah. And I think you just find other things to adjust to your bucket. Yeah. Because I'm not going to say like, oh, it's miserable, but I just think a lot of times, like when I'm talking to people, and I've talked to you before, like, yes, marriage is great, but X, Y, and Z. And I think, and we don't talk about like the hard stuff. We just show the wedding. We just show the baby's nursery, not when the babies turn up stuff. Yeah. So that was it.
I think that speaks to being fair with a person when you see someone and just having that compassion that you don't like. I feel
you don't know.
Well, bringing it back to full circle. When you scroll it and you're looking on your screen and you think that this person has this life and how did they get this? And you become jealous or envious. You just want to remind yourself and have that mental check with yourself that they're broadcasting or they're posting something positive side. I don't know the other side of it. So being real with yourself when you're looking through your social media and you're like, oh, I love this person, I love when they post this. Because just like Meg, I like Meg, and I would say this is how I kind of look at certain celebrity stuff. She posts all that positive stuff and all her workouts and stuff. She's had a rough couple of 2 years. And I feel like she's posting that to motivate herself. And it has nothing, nothing to do with, how she's making her followers feel. But us as followers and us as also people using those platforms, we need to be reminded that they're human too. Yeah. And that's why. And they're going through it. She probably has stuff addiction because it's like that's part of her job. So it's like, we just have to be conscious.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind that there's nothing left to create in the world, really.
Yeah.
There's nothing new that we're going to create. Now, we may have our own spin on it. We may make attachments to the thing. And so, honestly, now what people are selling are themselves on social media. Not in a weird, disgusting
but
way. Her job is to sell herself and Meg Thee Stallion's touch or her brand on things such as Planet Fitness or a certain drink or Amazon Prime or a handbag, whatever it is, she has to do that. I would imagine that if she decided to pull away from social media altogether, what impact would that then have on her brand?
Right.
So a lot of times when celebrities post that they're leaving social media, that was a big decision for them.
Yeah.
Or to have someone else manage it, because there's not honestly a lot of things left to sell or to create in the world, unfortunately.
Besides your business, your personal business, your personal, like, I just think of the camera being in your face all the time, like seeing every line, like that's just a lot.
Yeah.
Even when we were on Zoom, remember they were saying people were getting plastic surgery because they were looking in the camera on Zoom, and you're like, I don't look good without the filter or whatever.
Girl, that's wild.
You don't remember that?
Makeup.
Yeah, the makeup, all of that.
I don't remember that being the thing because of Zoom. I thought that's been a thing. But
maybe because
people were doing it.
Nia and
they
I
look better on Zoom, not even in person.
I started really caring about skincare because of Zoom.
Because you're looking and you're like, oh my God, I look dull. I look.
Now, see, that's when y'all being crazy. These pixels and stuff.
No,
it doesn't equate to how you really.
It's clear. It will tell you every little thing. A hair.
Also it like enhances those things too. Like, but
Zoom added a filter.
Yeah.
For that purpose.
Don't want to look scary? Click this button.
and it'll go like this. You go.
Ready. They need that in life.
So
like,
funny.
okay, never mind.
No,
they do not.
That's
Remember Black Mirror?
It's called the metaverse.
They had an episode like that where they the guy, like, you
watch Mirror?
No.
Oh, you never watched
so
you could
good.
disappear somebody from your vision. They make you look at he was like, wait, does she not? Oh my God, she deleted me from her memory. You can.
Oh, that's good.
And she
Black Mirror,
she like censored it where the girl couldn't hear certain curse words and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't see blood and all of that.
But then the girl still ended up doing whatever she wanted to do because she was like, well, when you say, what exactly are you saying? What exactly is, and then they'd be like, wait, did your mom download that program on you? And she was like, I think so. How did she get it out though? I don't even remember.
It was because of her friends because they kept saying them. She's like,
so even though they were
I would love that. He would love it. He hates when I say bad words.
They would be like this.
Says all kinds of words.
He'd be like,
And even if they tried to show her like a video of blood or violence, it would be pixelated.
Amazing.
You need to think because it's like all the things that you would think about as a possibility, Black Mirror does. Like, and you don't have to watch all of them. You can just
Netflix.
Yeah, it's like an original Netflix, and you could just watch that one. You don't have to watch.
They're independent of each other. Each episode.
Yeah, and so she had told me, and then I just ended up watching all of them. And they watched it with me again, like her brother, and then like Laura watched it at one point. Anyway, sorry. May have to edit that out. I think we're ready for your rapid fire.
Okay, let's see. Some rapid fire questions. Okay, I'm going to ask the question. I often feel worse after scrolling through social media, but I also feel like I'm missing out on it. What can I do?
That's a Nia question. question. That's a Nia question. I was whispering, but it's.
I mean, I think we answered that a little bit earlier around like you need to figure out why you feel like you're missing out and address that thing, and handle that with your therapist and your God, before you continue to be addicted and making yourself feel worse. I mean, why? Honestly, we do a lot of things that make us feel worse than we should, and when that happens, checking in with yourself around why do I keep doing this thing that when I don't do the thing, I honestly don't feel good about myself, and get to the root of that.
And what are you looking at on the, like, follow people who are positive. Don't follow people that are talking about stuff that's making you feel bad. So we know the news.
Murder Inc. I'm not following that.
Right. I like that.
The shade room. Thank you.
We're telling people where people got killed. Okay, maybe I wanted to go to the funeral, but other than that, I can't in my mind think of why you would need to do that. Shade room. Gossiping is never going to make us feel better. Like learning those negative, ugly things about people is not going to make us feel better. No matter how much is funny and all that, at the end of it, inside, our inner man is not meant to be like that. So what are you looking at?
I think more of those questions.
Yeah.
Inner demons. What's one social media platform you think everyone should consider taking a break from?
Insta. Because it's all about the highlight reel and not about real stuff, I think.
I would probably say that I thought that possibly TikTok was a little bit worse than Instagram because of the constant, like it's literally a constant break. It's a no break. Like at least Instagram be having words sometimes when you're reading something.
Oh, that's good.
Or you have to process the information. TikTok is so here's another one. It's very actually scary. And then it's like it's scary. Then when you go on their shopping side and the way that the stuff pop up.
I actually like the shopping side. I got a good camera, a good phone stand. It was only, never mind.
And I'm telling you, TikTok.
I didn't need one.
Yeah, I see why they're taking us out.
You're right.
TikTok was going to be on as well. The doom scrolling. I think they just put measures in place to like make you take a break.
Okay.
Even then, you can still bypass it and keep going. Whereas when I scroll on like YouTube Shorts, I eventually get to an end.
Right.
Sometimes I feel like I get to an end, so to speak, with Instagram. TikTok can go on forever, and it will shift and learn more of what you wanted to see and what you liked, and that kind of artificial intelligence is dangerous.
Dangerous. Okay, we have one more. What's the most important sign someone needs to unplug and seek professional help? And I think that's like the most important one. And I think we did a good example with that. With the mag, where they're selling their personalities, they're selling their souls. It's more than that though, because it's like, are you even identifying with the thing that you're trying to sell and what you're saying to people? Actually?
Yeah.
So when you see that you're disconnecting, or you're like, dang, or you have to keep saying, is that okay? That's when you probably need to take a break and then step back.
Yeah, and I think if your family is telling you, why don't you put down the phone and come and talk to us? Or come on, let's go out. And you're like, no, I just rather, or not that you're saying that, but you're like in your mind, like, no, I just stay home on my phone, which is fine sometimes. But if it's like repeated that your family or your friend is like, come on, let's go. And you're like, no, I'm staying home.
Yeah.
What about for you, Nia?
I think just like anything else that somebody might come to a clinician for, is when it gets in the way of your activities of daily living.
Yeah.
Is the quote. And so if you're finding it difficult to, get out of bed and go about your normal morning routine without scrolling first, or you're in the bathroom, everybody sits on the toilet, so that shouldn't be disgusting, right? And you find yourself 40 minutes later, and now your feet are asleep. Like you've been there too long.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
You know, phone in the shower with you, right? Like just all of
Yeah.
these places where
Phone should not be.
you just can't, right? You can't take a shower, right? Unless that's your profession, no shade. But if it gets in the way of your activities of daily living, you need to.
Which includes work, I think. If you're not able to get your stuff done at work because you're scrolling and stuff, like that's a problem. It's a safety problem for some people because don't be driving. And I've seen that like this, ran the light, almost killed everyone, didn't even notice. The lady just ran right through. Or like, let's say you're in a kitchen. You need to pay attention to whatever you're prepping. So, or we're in an office all day and don't not do your stuff because now you may have to stay and finish. You know what I mean? So,
well, I know in my position, being on the phone, you can't be around people's social security numbers and their personal identification information. So I think people do need to take it serious. Phones not belong everywhere. If they were to even see me with it in the, you can't have your phone out. So I think, and I think if we want to keep our rights, because I think if we want to keep our rights of the certain stuff, we need to abide by these lines and make sure we have these boundaries. Because what's going to happen is when we're in certain areas and they send no cell phone, it's not going to be able to work.
Right.
And so if we are able to maintain these things and actually show that we have self-control, I feel like to the masses, it won't get there. But if we can't inflict the control will be inflicted on.
Yeah, because I feel like a good example of that at the gym, like we need to respect that when we're in the bathroom or even working out, like I don't need you looking at my ass when I'm doing it because I don't intend for that to be anywhere but in that space. So a lot of times you'll see people, like I'll see stuff on YouTube, someone making fun of how someone lifted stuff. And I'm like, instead of you going and helping them, you decided to record it and put it, like you said,
we're in the gym.
If we don't put the rules, it's like it's
going to inflict on our rights.
And that's part of our mental health that I know I can go into this doctor's office, this gym, this spa, and no one's going to be making fun of me. Like that's part of us being able to relax.
I did have a hiccup. I did have so do you know about King Spa, Nia? I went to King Spa. Girl, me and Laura in there recording the facilities, like, the lady ran over to us like, what are you doing?
She did a good job.
What are you doing? She said, no, delete that. No, why would you want a picture of yourself? I was like, no, I wasn't recording anyone. I just wanted to see and show the facilities.
Yeah.
But I was so caught up in myself that I forgot. Yeah, that I didn't even think.
We don't have to. You got to go there to see it, right?
Right. You got to go there to see it. And until her reaction, like literally, me and Laura was like, "What's wrong with this lady?" And so we seen her reaction. We was like,
"Right."
Like,
because that's the thing. Like we're in, and let's say like how we're here. It could be someone naked in the corner that you didn't see, but you're only seeing this certain area. So it's like we just gotta
be conscious of that person.
Yeah.
They're like, they don't know. So I was like, you are.
Right. So even if it's not
it was no in it, but it was just like, why did I not have that conscious? This girl, this is like because I was just like, oh no, I got this. Social media got to get this. Because if they didn't see it, you don't eat without them taking the picture first to show
you're starving.
Yeah, I was saying, if you didn't take a picture of it, it didn't happen. So
I had to find out about the spa.
On social media, Instagram. Remember, you had showed me from Instagram.
For real, but I'm trying to think who. And that's the thing. It was pictures of it. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm gonna take my pictures, not realizing
I didn't miss out. I'm here.
I was in the whole lot of things ran over. Delete it, and I was like, I'm so
But I don't
Like,
know.
what is wrong?
Did you see pictures of the bathroom? You probably
No,
saw
it was of the inside
of the thing.
hot tub pool area. Yes, the inside the nude area. That's why I didn't think, even though the signs were up, I'm like, okay, well, I've seen it. He's done before. But you know what? Still, you should have a deeper consciousness.
Right.
Don't go in nude spots.
Right.
Where other people maybe walk into the front. You know, it just made me think. When that lady reacted like that, it was like,
because that's part
really
of
a good person.
the thing of the spa is like you can't even make noise when you're in there, and we need to think about social media as always being this thing that's broadcasting to us. And when you're there, they are very purposeful that it's not supposed to have cell phone, and people do it in the sauna area, but I feel like in the water area where you can choose to be nude, you need to have that idea that it's a safe place and it's not going to be broadcasted somewhere else.
And after that, ever since then, I've never brought my cell phone into that room. I leave it in the locker, and I enjoy my time there. I get lost in that.
Yeah.
Lost now. I go tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I'll be naked in the spot. Y'all won't see it, but I will be.
Nice.
So you're gonna wrap us out. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Social media is a great tool, and that's what we need to use it to enhance our tools that we have, and to help us build upon those skills that we have. Not use it as a comparison of what we don't, not ain't.
Yeah.
That's what we don't do. That's how I'm going to wrap it out. But you are wonderful, Leah.
I think it's where you go to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't want to be exposed, like you can't hide.
Yeah.
In the space, whether it's just you kind of one of those people that used to be called twatching when you were on Twitter, you never said anything, but you were just scrolling. People can still see what you liked and what your preferences were. And if you're not being exposed to people, you're being exposed to the algorithm, and it knows what you like and what you want to see, and it's going to continue to feed you that. And so if you don't want junk, don't like junk, don't go looking for junk, don't follow junk, because that's what's going to be fed to you and can lead to those negative impacts that we've talked about.
Yeah, that's good. And I think to wrap up for me, I would say that you are empowered to do either good things with your time on social media or bad things. So choose the people that you follow, like Nia was saying, choose the content that you're liking so that even on the back end, the algorithm is not sending you things that you don't necessarily want to keep imprinting on your mental health and your mindset.
I want to thank you, Roxana, and thank you, Nia, for joining me in this conversation today about, social media, the positive and negative impacts, and about a little bit about self-addiction we got in there. I want you guys to check out Nia on Purpose with Nia. She does group therapy sessions. Also, you do
mental health consulting.
But don't you do the circles too?
Not anymore.
Nothing. Okay.
Well, that's the groups.
Conversation.
They sit in a circle.
Okay. You can check her out on Purpose with Nia.
Yes. Okay. And you can like her on Instagram. You can also like us
on
Not Vanilla on Instagram and on YouTube. Check out our Buzzsprout link, our website link. You can listen to the podcast anywhere your favorite podcast is broadcasted. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm. Wherever your favorite podcast is broadcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nia. Hopefully you'll be on again. I know she's so busy, and we're just grateful that you were able to come with us.
We appreciate your expertise, your patience with us, your knowledge, and your words of wisdom today.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Bye.